of their dorsal fin, you can imagine how extraordinarily we were lucky early in the tour to be able to see the entire animal, both as it lunge fed and as it was breaching. So since we were able to see the entire anatomy of the whale, I figured using this whale model that I have up the front of the boat, I'll go over some of the features of the animal that we've been looking at today. Because they're so different from us, it's kind of hard to get a handle almost what you're looking at, isn't it? So if we start up at the top of the animal, the nose, these little bumps that it has on top of its face, those are the tubercles, and that's where the hair follicles are growing on out of that I mentioned earlier today. One of the characteristics that does make our humpback whale a mammal. On the top of the head also, you may be aware, that's the blowhole, that's the nose where he's coming on up to take a breath. And then if we look at the eyes on either side of the head, interestingly enough, humpback whales can see 72 different colors of blue. Imagine that. So definitely psychedelic waters out there for them. If we look on the underside, the belly, you might have saw this when the humpback breached and we caught a good view of its underside. It looked like there were stripes. Those are ventral grooves or ventral pleats, and that is what enables it to expand like an accordion and open its jaw 180 degrees. If you remember back to the lunch meeting when we saw that big gulp, that's what was happening, was that these ventral grooves or pleats were expanding on out. And then if we look at the side fins, the pectoral fins are the longest of any of the whale species. They're about the third the length of the animal. As a matter of fact, the scientific name for the humpback whale is Megaptera novaeangulae. Say that 3 times fast. But basically what that translates to is big-winged New Englander, because the humpback whale species was identified off of New England, and is famous for its big wings, i.e. pectoral fins. Then if we move down towards the bottom of the whale, there's a very powerful muscle that's just before the fluke, right there. That's called the caudal peduncle, and the caudal peduncle is the strongest muscle on any animal on this planet, period. It has the strength to flick 10 elephants into the air if it wanted to. And the reason it has such a powerful muscle right there is that humpback whales, as they swim through the ocean, swim in an undulating movement. If you remember back to maybe when you had a goldfish as a kid, that goldfish swam in a side-to-side movement. That is the pattern that how fish swim. Our humpbacks, to contrast that, are going up and down, which is why they have such a powerful muscle there. And then if we look at the fluke, you might have caught sight, say, a couple of times as a white pigmentation on the underside of the fluke. That is 100% identifiable to each individual whale. For example, we humans are identified by our fingerprint, and no 2 fingerprints are alike. No 2 humpback flukes are alike. So as a matter of fact, if anybody managed to get a photograph of a fluke today where you caught that white pigmentation, you can go online. I've got a website I can give you that actually tells you exactly which whale you were looking at. Was that Henry the whale, Francis the whale, Lucy the whale? You can find out. It's all due to the white pigmentation markings on the underside of the fluke.